All right. Good morning, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. And just to let you know, this session is being recorded. Welcome to BMGT443 for the fall 22 semester. I am Professor Perfetti. I will be teaching this session. And again, apologies that for the first 2 weeks, we are going to have to do a little bit of online sessions before we return to the classroom 2 weeks from today. But as I mentioned in my announcement, that doesn't mean we don't have work that you're going to be doing in the first 2 weeks. So today, what we're primarily going to do is just cover a couple things in the syllabus and begin by talking about some of the content we're going to be going through this semester while you get yourselves acclimated. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So again, in the ELMS course homepage, you can click on the syllabus link here, or you can get to the syllabus link here on the main menu. There are 4 sections this semester. This is the 8 a.m. section, which mysteriously is called section 201. There's also a 9:30, an 11 a.m. section, and a 12:30 p.m. section. I've gotten some questions already before the semester started about session hopping. Generally, for lectures, it is preferred that you go to the section that you are registered for. The classroom is Van Munching Hall 3505. It has 32 Bloomberg terminals in it. We're going to be using Bloomberg very heavily. And given that we have between 35 and 40 people already registered per section, the room is not going to be big enough to accommodate too many more people. So it is important that you go to the section that you are registered for, just to make sure that the people that are registered for the sections have priority to the seats and have priority to the terminals that we are using. I am the instructor, Professor Perfetti. That's my UMD email. That's my cell phone. I will change my office as we move back on campus. It's in the 4th floor of the finance department. These are the 4 TAs. You are section 201, so Ryan is your TA. The important thing about all of these TAs is these are undergraduate TAs who have previously taken this class and done well. So not only will they be there to help you, but they've actually been in your shoes and they have done the coursework and done well with the coursework. So please take advantage of them. They will also be doing much of the grading in terms of individual assignments and your midterm exam. This class is on equity analysis, basically to start teaching you to think like a sell-side analyst, how to evaluate individual companies. It will cover 4 major topics. The first one, which we're going to begin, is called EIC, stands for Economic, Industry, and Company. And it's a framework to understand the external environment that companies participate in and how that affects their financial performance. The second focus will be on the past, historical financial performance, really evaluations about the future, but we use the past to understand the future. So to get a better understanding of the KPIs and drivers of a company. The third aspect of this class will be building valuation models. And we will be doing an enterprise DCF model in this class, which you will build and use repeatedly. That's tied to Bloomberg for multiple companies. And the fourth is multiples, or also known as comparables or comps. It is an alternative form of valuation linked to DCF. And we'll talk about how multiples are created and what they mean from an analytic standpoint. So a few things I'll just highlight, you guys can read. Basically, this is going to be what I'll call a hybrid class. Obviously, we're doing a couple sessions online. You'll watch some videos, do a lot of lab work. We will have some in-person lectures throughout the semester, but essentially, it's going to be what I'll call a hybrid class. Some online, some in person. Much of the work you do will be on the Bloomberg terminal. And also you'll be doing half your grade will be in teams. Attendance is going to be very important only because this class is cumulative. It's going to be a lot of work. There's going to be one assignment every single week for the entire semester. And I just want to be very straight with you about that, because if that's not your cup of tea, drop the class. The other thing is that these assignments build on each other, so that if you think that you can basically show up first class, last class, and skip everything in between, you will fail. And matter of fact, I had somebody did that last semester. I warned them. I said, don't do this. And they did it anyways. They failed and they got really upset. So I'm just going to let you know, very, very important that you follow along, complete all the assignments, because later assignments are based on previous assignments. And if you don't know what's going on, you will really struggle. So that's primarily the reason for attendance, because I want to make sure that you are paying attention and following along. The other thing is, again, half your grade, 50%, is going to be based on group projects. You're going to be assigned next week and randomly into teams. You must participate in those group projects. Non-participation in a group project is a 0. If you don't participate in the group project, you cannot pass this class. And there will be peer reviews to make sure that you do participate in those group projects. So I just want to set the tone for that. The other thing is a couple things I'll just mention about grading. Number one, in this class, we grade based on getting a right answer. So there will be minimum word requirements in some of the assignments you do, because I think it's really disrespectful to just turn in things with bullet points. So you have to answer questions. But most importantly, I don't care how many words you write. If you don't answer the question right, we don't give credit for writing a lot of words. So it is not our responsibility to go through the mishmash of data that you throw at us and try and find correct answers. It is your responsibility to answer the question correctly for a grade. That's going to be very important for grading. The other thing is deadlines are taken extremely seriously in this class. So you're adults. So if you miss a deadline, you don't get to make it up. You get a 0, no matter what your excuse is, unless it's something like death in the family, you were hospitalized, you were in a car accident, university approved excuses. But other than that, if you don't fall into that category and you miss a deadline, your assignment won't be graded under any circumstance and you will get a 0. So very, very important. Before deadlines, we will be flexible. Myself or any of the 4 of the TAs can grant you extensions. And we're usually fairly flexible as long as your request is reasonable about an extension. After the deadline, we'll be sympathetic to whatever your problem was, but we won't give you any more extensions and we won't grade anything. So very, very important that you take the deadlines seriously, right? There will also be recordings. I'm going to record every class, including this one, and I will post them on my YouTube channel. I don't like Panopto. I think Panopto sucks. So basically, YouTube is much more accessible for people in terms of ease of accessing videos anywhere, any device. So I'll post the recordings on YouTube. I think they'll also be on Panopto when I record on Zoom, but I don't even use it and I hate that product. Anyways, textbook is the 7th edition of Valuation. Make sure you have the 7th edition. It was completely rewritten from previous editions. If you bought an old version, it's not going to work. You're going to be put into a randomly assigned group for half of your grades. And so make sure that you know your group members and start working on the group projects, because the first group project kicks off next week. That first group project is called the Bloomberg Trading Challenge. So we're going to be using Bloomberg Professional very heavily this semester. So if you've never used Bloomberg before, you will. You're going to get certified in it and you're going to be actively using it. It is the tool used by pros on Wall Street, and we are using it in this class. It's very expensive software, costs $25,000 per user per year. There's about 340,000 users globally. You will become one of those users, and the cost for you is 0 while you are taking this class. So it is a privilege that we have here at the school, that you'd actually get the same thing that if you got hired by Goldman Sachs would be on your desk and they would train you to use. You're going to be trained to use that in this class, help you in your recruiting as well. As a matter of fact, Bloomberg recruits directly out of this class because of our heavy use of the terminal. So the Bloomberg Trading Challenge is something that they do across universities. Basically, you're given $1 million and you'll trade real world in the terminal, just like a trader would. You're just trading with fictitious dollars instead of real dollars, but it's the same trading platform used in the real world. And basically you're going to trade equities, and you're going to be competitively graded in this class against your teammates, so that the team with the best portfolio performance gets the best grade. The team with the worst portfolio performance gets the worst grade. And this will be 10% of your semester grade. We'll do 2 6-week sprints. We'll reset after 6 weeks, and you have to trade no matter what the environment is. I don't care how bad the stock market gets, you're still going to be trading equities. So just start selling short. So basically you have to do at least 10 longs each half of the semester. Otherwise it's considered non-participation and your group will be disqualified. So more about that later in the week. Again, back to Bloomberg Professional. You must become Bloomberg certified. It's called BMC for their certification. I'll talk more about that, but you have to become certified by, I think it's on the syllabus later. The 12th of September, Friday, September 12th. Okay. And it's going to take you 6 to 8 hours to complete the certification. So the next 2 weeks, particularly, well, we're not giving you huge amounts of time in the class and lots of work. You should be working on your BMC certification. And again, I'll talk to you today about how you start that process. Grades, 100% broken out. 5% of your grade this semester is the Bloomberg certification, with a minimum score of 70% on each one of their tests. So you can't just blow through the certification. They test you multiple choice on the content that you're reading. And if you don't score 70% or higher on every section of Bloomberg, when you give me the certification score, you will not get credit for the certification. You'll get a 0. So you have to get a minimum 70% on all 4 sections. And it's all or nothing. You either get 5% completely certified or you get nothing. You'll have 4 non-Bloomberg challenge group projects, 10% each. Those will be team presentations. The first one's later in September. 1 on EIC, 10% of your grade. 1 on historical, 10% of your grade. 1 on valuation, 10% of your grade. And 1 on multiples, 10% of your grade. There'll be individual homework assignments that you'll be doing once a week over the next 13 weeks. 25% of your grade will be those individual homework assignments. 10% will be a midterm exam. 10% will be the 5th group project, which is the Bloomberg Trading Challenge, 5% for each half of the semester. And your final exam is also 10% of your grade. Basically, attendance policy. You have to attend 90% of the classes this semester. And if you do well, and the criteria is specifically listed in here on those individual and group assignments and midterm grade, then you can opt out of the final exam. So that's the actually other side of the attendance policy. So basically last semester, I think about 80% of the students opted out of the final exam, in which case you get 10 points. You don't have to take the final exam, which will be given in the final day of class. Also follow the honor code. I hate sending people to the honor council. And remember that there is a course assistance website prohibition at the school. You can't use anything from previous semesters, and you can't use any course assistance websites. If we find out that you do, then you will be sent to the honor council, and they treat that very harshly. I've again will remind you about the late assignment policy. Deadlines are very serious. So for example, if an assignment is due at 10 a.m. and at 10:15 you try and submit it via email because Canvas won't let you submit it anymore, then we will basically politely say, sorry, you are not getting that assignment graded. You will get a 0. So if the assignment is due at 10, make sure you submit by 10. If at 10 a.m. you're having a problem submitting, then that email better be with an attachment at 10:01 a.m. If that email comes in at 10:15 a.m. saying I had problems submitting at 10, you're going to get a 0. If it's at 10:01 and you say I had a real problem submitting, we might consider it, but don't submit things past deadlines. Okay. You'll get a course evaluation at the end of the semester. If you have any special needs, please let me know. Again, we generally are as flexible as we can before deadlines, but deadlines are taken very seriously. And there are two ability to get extra credits this semester. One is the final exam opt-out. That's the criteria here. The other one's called an assignment replacement. We know that we're all human. And so basically, if you miss one of the individual assignments this semester, you have the opportunity to do an indulgence and basically have that assignment replaced after the deadline with a paper for full credit, as if you didn't miss that assignment. You can do the assignment replacement anytime this semester up until I think it's December 3rd, and it could replace any individual missed assignment, which would be very important, not only for grading, but also if you're trying to opt out of the final exam. All right, I've been on, and these are the assignments broken out by week. I've been on a long monologue. Questions about any of this? Right. Speaking of assignments, they're right here. The first two you should start on immediately. So I got the date wrong. The first one is Bloomberg certification, which is 5% of your semester grade. That is due actually Friday, September 16th. I had the wrong date for Friday. And that's worth 5% of your semester grade. The other one is homework 1, which will be due on next Wednesday. Next Monday is Labor Day. There won't be a class, but your first assignment is due a week from Wednesday, and it will involve using the Bloomberg terminal. So just pay attention to those in terms of the initial assignments for the class. All right, so very quickly, you might say, gee, what is this Bloomberg product? So basically, in 3505 Van Munching Hall, which is our classroom, there are 32 computers, and Bloomberg is software. You can actually go to the Bloomberg.com website and download the software onto any computer. It's PC, not Mac. Now, here's the deal. When you try and open that software, it's going to ask you for a serial number, which you won't have. And basically, in order to get a serial number, they're going to ask you for $25,000 at 2-year minimum commitment. So it's actually $50,000 in order to install a serial number on your local PC. So you won't be able to do that. So basically the 32 computers, now Maryland has a license for 60 terminals. 32 of them are in that lab, and you have the primary access to them during class time and not during class time to go into that lab to work on your Bloomberg assignments, which you'll have to be doing during the semester. Now, in order to get an account, when you're sitting in front of one of the terminals, you need to basically click on Bloomberg on your desktop. So let me go to my desktop here and show you what that symbol looks like. So if the terminal is not open, let's see, I'm sharing my whole screen. Share. There we go. So I actually have a Mac with Parallels. So I have both Windows and the Mac software, but this is the Windows desktop. Basically, this is the icon for the Bloomberg terminal, which you will click on. It will bring you to a login screen. You won't have the login when you first go in there. At the bottom of that screen, there's a menu that says sign up for a new account. So basically you sign up, click on that, sign up for a new account. It takes about 4 minutes. So basically you'll put in your name, your email address, UMD email address, cell phone number. Cell phone number is very important because when you hit sign up at a terminal in the lab, it assumes you're a Maryland student and it will give you a license to use on any terminal here at the school. So basically when you sign up, it's going to say, I'm going to send you a confirmation, either text or email. Text is faster, of a code, which you'll then put back in. And because you're at that terminal with that code, it will then create your account. And then you'll choose a password, and then you have a login to Bloomberg. And then you can start using the terminal. But you can only create the logins at the terminals, one of the 32 computers in the lab. And the other piece is you can only use Bloomberg in the lab. Can't do it online. You can't do it at home. So Bloomberg access only in the lab. Lab is generally open 8 to 6, Monday through Friday. And on Monday, 8 to 2, we are in class. And Wednesday, 8 to 2, we're in class. Right, this week, because I'm sick, you guys have some advantages. Take advantage of class time when that lab is open to start your Bloomberg training and certification. Okay, and to do your Bloomberg assignment. It's due next Wednesday. All right, so once you're in this terminal, I've already logged in. You'll see it is kind of keyboard based. Okay, so this is a command line. There are 36,000 functions that you can use to access the 1.4 million companies in the database. You'll learn about 20 this semester as part of your proficiency. So one of the things that you might do is you'll start learning these things. Top means top news. Bloomberg scans all of the news sources. So basically, this is what's going on in the world right now. You'll also learn to go to something called, yes, David?
We can't see your screen.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you. Try reshare Bloomberg again. So back to this. Thanks for pointing that out. Hopefully you can see it now. When you go to this command line, this is that Google command line. You start typing in Bloomberg codes. It gives you a search at the top and then companies at the bottom. So basically, top is top news, what's going on in the world today. Another one is DAYB, which is a shortcut for daybreak. Daybreak is basically where traders start every day. It's like the cliff notes of what you need to know for the day. So here's what's going on that's going to be important to the markets. Summary, need to know anything that's happening today in terms of news data that's going to be released, anything coming up in the week ahead. What are the traders focused on today? What's going on in the economy? What's happening in the opinion pages, mostly business opinion, what's on the front pages of newspapers around the world, etc. Right. So daybreak, something we can use to get familiar with what's going on in the real world, particularly with business news. So somebody give me a company, any company. Just shout one
Tesla.
out. Tesla, and somebody else wrote Amazon. All right, we'll start with Tesla. So back to this command line, start typing in Tesla. Okay, start typing the company name. Down here at the bottom are the securities. The Bloomberg format is ticker symbol, Tesla, market, US, and then equity is the stock, right? Corp is the debt, okay? So we're going to be doing equity analysis of mostly Tesla US equity. That's how you actually get to information about the stock. It will then bring you to the equity screen, the menu. Up here will be the ticker. This is news about Tesla. If it's got a lot of news, you can click on this, see what the news is. So that's basically news just about Tesla. And there's a lot of news to follow them. Back to the screen, hit the back button. So a few other things you can do. One, this is the screen we're going to use a lot this semester. Short code is called DES, or you can click on it. DES is a company description. It will tell you about the company. Okay. And then a summary of data about the company. And across here are some tabs. Information about their stock, information about their financial ratios, revenue and EPS, including forecasts, and ESG if you care about that sort of thing. Okay, so back to the main menu. That is called security description. One of the other nice features of security description is if there is industry research, BI, Bloomberg Intelligence, research primer, and they have something called BICO, which is Bloomberg Intelligence on a company, that can be very useful because what Bloomberg has done is they have hired ex sell side analysts to basically summarize all of the equity research on companies' stock. So basically, this is a summary of all what the analysts are saying about Tesla. So you can read this and see what's going on in terms of how Wall Street is talking about Tesla. Okay. Now, the other thing that they do is over here, you can see related primers. There's an industry primer. So this is where you can get information on what's going on in the automobile industry, and the same thing. So they have these former sell-side analysts who are curating research on what's going on, major drivers in the automobile industry of the company that you're looking for. Now, there's different ways to get to the same thing in Bloomberg. So for example, I got to the screen by clicking on DES and then BICO. I can also just type in BICO. This is what you're going to learn when you go through your certification for Bloomberg. But again, this is the Bloomberg intelligence on a company. Okay, so there's two ways to get to the same screen, and then I can go to the industry. If I want to go to an industry dashboard, I just type in BI, which is Bloomberg Intelligence, and then it'll say which industry am I looking for. And I can search for any industry dashboard from this screen. It's called Bloomberg Intelligence, something you're going to be using a lot this semester. All right, so let's go back to Tesla, US equity. A few more things that we will be doing this semester is we will be using something called FA a lot. FA is financial analysis, and specifically it's historical data. So these are summary data historically for Tesla. Here is their historical income statements. And you are going to see the income statement in multiple formats. This is BBG adjusted, which means Bloomberg adjusts the income statement into a standard format that the analysts like to see. So this is an adjusted statement versus if I click on as reported, this is the actual income statement that and P&L that Tesla reports. Now, what's important about all of these is click through. So for example, if I see that they had 53.8 billion of total revenue in 2021 as reported. If I click on this, it'll show me where Bloomberg matched it to a Bloomberg field. But more importantly, if I click on this little icon over here, it will bring me to the 10K and specifically the portion of the 10K where they got the revenue. So another nice feature of drill down from each of the things that they do. Click over here, BS, there's all their balance sheet data, again, standardized to Bloomberg, as reported by the company, common size if you want to look at ratios. Cash flow, ratios, segment data pulled out of the 10K, any other miscellaneous data they have about them, such as vehicles sold, ESG data, custom data, which you can do about Tesla as well. So for example, if you go to custom under historical data, great custom, you can look up data on anything you want for a company. So let's say you want to look up EBITDA, you search for EBITDA, click here. There's 6 years worth of EBITDA, where it says periods 6. If I want to switch that to 10, I now have 10 years of EBITDA for a company. So I can create my own financials list of whatever I want. And then once I have this list, I can export this to a PDF or Excel, bring it out inside of Bloomberg. So that is called FA. Another thing that we'll be using a lot this semester is RV. RV stands for relative valuation. This is where you can compare companies against peers. This is actually going to be very important for homework 1. So in RV, these are Tesla's automobile peers, and they have all these default templates over here. These are just general financial summary of a company. Now, where it says comp source, this is the Bloomberg's algorithm that says, here's who I think are Tesla's competitors. If I click on the drop down, I can also use GICS as a compare list. So these are the GICS competitors. This is the SIC list, etc., or I can create my own list. Now, for purposes of the first homework assignment, we're going to use the Bloomberg default competitor peer list for the companies that you are looking at. And again, you can see, here's the overview sheet. Here are the comp sheets. When I click on comp sheets for Tesla, this is the equity comps. This is the profitability. So this is the P&L comps. This is the balance sheet comps. If I click on markets, this is going to be market data about Tesla in terms of returns, in terms of volatility, EPS preview, who owns Tesla and all of their peers, credit rating template. And the one that we're going to use a lot is custom. Custom means we can look up any data point across all of the peers. For homework 1, what you're going to do is we're going to add a column. And we're going to type in return on invested capital, which is a very important number this semester because it represents a proxy for free cash flow. So if you have a 10% ROIC, you're generating 10 cents of cash per dollar of investment. Okay, so we're going to look up ROIC, and then it's going to ask which ROIC do we want? Okay, do we want the one for the latest filing? So this will be second quarter 2022. Do we want it from last year, which will be December 2021? Do we want to do a customized period? Which ROIC do we want? We'll start out with latest filing. We'll hit enter. What's nice about Bloomberg is this is an industry average. It's an average of all the companies in this list. So it gives you real-time industry average, ROIC as of the latest filing. This is Tesla's ROIC. These are each of the ROICs as of the second quarter for all of rolling 12 months for all of the automobile companies. Second thing we're going to add for homework 1 is the weighted average cost of capital. The difference between the two is called spread. Okay, so ROIC is like IRR, WACC is like your R. The difference between the two is value. Okay, so as a matter of fact, we do EIC. One of the questions we're going to ask, is this an attractive industry? Well, the cost of capital for this industry is 9.7%. The average company is making 13. This is considered an attractive industry. Okay, Tesla's cost of capital right now is 12.86%. Its ROIC is almost 23, 22.99. That is a positive spread. This little gear icon allows you to save this as a new template. So I don't have to keep typing in these numbers. And then when I name my template, all 22 ROIC, spell that right, and I hit save, it's going to put it on this menu right here. Just takes a second. That way, anytime you come to this screen, yours will initially be blank, and you click on this template, click on another template, it'll load whatever's in that template for all those companies. There it is. So that's my cycle time template. But if I go back to the one we just did, it'll load the one we just did for all of the companies. Now, in order to create the template that I just did and get on this screen and make it look the way I do, there's 2 additional things you're going to have to do when you log into your account. This is RV of a company, where it says settings right here. Make sure you change your global settings in the RV. Couple of things. When you first log in, your screen is going to look like this. And you go to RV. It's not going to look like my screen. It's going to look like this. And what you're going to see is this is an ugly mess. Bloomberg gives this standard crap that I think just gets in the way of the analysis that we're trying to do. And Bloomberg doesn't by default put the industry average on this list. So 2 things. 1, in settings, global settings, I want to get rid of this top middle bar that we never will use. So it says view options under display, show top section, uncheck that box. It's going to get rid of this. If you like it, you can keep it, but I find it to be annoying because it just takes up real estate. It doesn't give me anything that's useful. Then down here where it says stats, market cap weighted average. You can do other statistics as well, but this is the one we're going to use, okay, as opposed to average, okay, because average is a straight average. The problem is tiny companies distort the average. Market cap weighted average is an average based on size, so a tiny company doesn't distort the average, okay. Then when you hit close, by checking those two boxes, uncheck the show top screen, check market cap weighted average, two things are going to happen. This middle area is going to go away, so you get more real estate. And more importantly, every time you do a list, and this is now global, so it's default, you will get an industry average, okay? And then if you gear icon, save the template, or if you want to add a column to the template, you can. It'll put it on this menu bar so that you can find it. So this is considered an attractive industry because it has a positive spread. Tesla is doing very well in an attractive industry. Lucid is not. You can see various other companies here. Okay, now here's another nice feature. Once I've saved this template, somebody mentioned Amazon. I come here, which says Tesla US equity. I type in Amazon US equity, select it, hit enter, and that will replace Tesla with Amazon and all their competitors in the template that I just created. So this is the spread. So we're going to call this based on the return on invested capital, latest filing against cost of capital for basically online retail. Okay. And this is the default comp source from the analysts look at. But again, I could use the Bloomberg algorithm. I get a slightly different pure list. If the Bloomberg algorithm only does 3 companies, I'll stick with the analyst curated list, which is the default one for Amazon. And these are the e-commerce peers for Amazon. Back on this list. If I click on this index, I can see if they have any other peer groups that are default. All right, so Amazon only has 1. So let's start out. Is this an attractive industry?
No.
Yes. Yeah, this industry is not doing well at all right now. It's got a negative spread. Okay, how's Amazon doing? Right now, not so great. So, a couple of things. We can jump around and look at other industries and companies, but this is what I want to show you things. A couple other things we're going to use over here. ANR. Amazon's not doing well today, but this is what the sell side analysts, these are the actual sell side analysts that are covering Amazon. This is what they think of their future. These are the buy, sell, hold opinions right here as of this morning. Okay, some of them actually updated them. 8/28, isn't that today? Was that yesterday? So the point is, buys are worth 5 points. 58 of these analysts call Amazon a buy. One says hold, holds are worth 3 points. One says sell, sells are worth 1 point. On a 5-point scale, Amazon's a 4.87 out of 5. They're putting in 12-month price targets for where they think Amazon's share price can trade 12 months from today. This is the average of all the 12-month share price targets, 172. Right now, their stock's at 130. Wall Street thinks there's 31.7% upside in Amazon over the next 12 months. They're down 21.9% in the last 12 months. Okay, so they've had a rough ride in our choppy market, but they think they're going to more than recover in the next year. Now, again, I can see Morgan Stanley, see all the different firms. If I scroll down, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, these are all the different firms that are covering it. These are called the sell side analysts. So we're doing that are covering. So I'll take Bernstein as an example, Mark Schmolk, who on 8/24 put $160 price target for them. If you click on his name, this is his coverage universe. These are all the companies he's covering. He's only covering 6. In fact, if you click on research, this will be his research about Amazon. These are the actual analyst reports that he writes. The reason you don't see them is because Wall Street sells the research. So basically, you have to pay for the research in order to get access to the research. Wall Street sells the research for $4 billion a year. The research is sold to the buy side, basically institutions, because those buy, sell, hold opinions are not for you and me. They are for the institutions. So that's where you get to access to the research. Okay. If you want to see who Mark is, this is Mark in New York. That's his address. That's his email at Bernstein. That red dot means he's not online at Bloomberg. When it turns green, he's online. You can IM him. He used to work at McKinsey before he was at Sanford Bernstein. He's a London Business School MBA. So again, this is a trading platform. If you actually IM him, he'll answer you because he'll think that if you're on Bloomberg, that you're actually somebody he should be talking to until he finds you're a student. He'll probably block you. But nonetheless, you can use this for your own. If you want to become a working person on Wall Street, you're looking for a job, you have access to every single person on Wall Street through this terminal, PEOP, PEOP. Gives a complete listing of every person on the terminal and their contact information. So again, we have access to research on Amazon through something called BRC, which you can also get individual research. And we have access to JP Morgan research, Mizuho research, and a couple of other banks, Deutsche Bank, Needham. So the school had bought some or get some access for free as part of their Bloomberg license, but not everybody. Okay, so you'll see that we don't have, for example, Goldman Sachs. We just have Deutsche Bank and JP Morgan. So these are the actual research reports that you can get on Amazon that you have access to. Okay, now this is through, again, ANR. Now, one of the other things that they do, and these are their actual spreadsheets forecasting Amazon, they're called models. You can see this pop up. But the point of the spreadsheet is they're locked because you have to pay for the model, right? So they're actually uploading to Bloomberg standardized Excel models in Amazon. Now, what Bloomberg is doing is it's aggregating the models in a standardized format. So when they're forecasting Amazon, this is just a single period. I can look at multiple periods. This is what they're forecasting for Amazon. And Bloomberg is trying to be consistent about what the analysts are forecasting. It's helping get consistency on Wall Street. Okay. And this is then summarized on this screen called EEO, which we're going to use a lot this semester, which is the earnings estimates. This is a real-time view into the consensus estimate database. I'll hide the bottom of the screen. So for example, revenue, row 13. This is 21 actual revenue, 469 billion. This is 22 estimated revenue. Basically, it's the average of all the analyst guesses, 524 billion. 23 revenue, 605 billion. 24 revenue, 695 billion. 25 revenue, 790 billion. EPS by year. When you read in the Wall Street Journal whether a company missed or met their earnings estimates, this is what everybody's looking at. Okay, these are the future guesses of the Wall Street professionals. EEO. This is what you're going to learn when you do your certification. So the question is, how do I get certified? So back to Bloomberg certification. 2 options. Option 1 for certification. All right, go back here. Option 1 for certification is in the terminal. You type in BMC. You'll have to do this in the lab on a terminal you're registered for. You'll get certified and you'll sign up right here. It's free. You'll continue as a learner. Name, non-Bloomberg email. Now, even though you signed up for an account with Bloomberg, you have to sign up for certification as a second account. Okay, so you'll do a non-Bloomberg email So you can't use a Bloomberg.com email, but you can use your same UMD email you used to register for Bloomberg in here. So I'm perfetti@umd.edu. I could do perfetti@umd.edu right here, choose a password, accept, and then I can take the certification. Okay, and I'll log in on the terminal and take it on the terminal. So that's one option, BMC through the terminal. Second option, available to you in this class. Most of you will probably choose option B. Option B is you can do it online, anywhere, certification, including at your home. You don't have to be in the lab. So how do you do that? You go to this website, which I'll put a link in. I'll put a link in the announcements, but it's portal.bloombergforeducation.com. This is their Bloomberg for Education website. Okay, see right here. This is the home page. All right. Now, when you get here, you will have this link. You'll sign up. Okay. I'm a professor. You're signing up as a learner. You will type in your umd.edu address and choose a password. Okay. And when you type in perfetti@umd.edu, edu. Okay. It'll say that you're with the University of Maryland. This is very important. Okay, to use a umd.email address. You type in your name, choose you're not a bot, sign up. Reason why is because if you do it online, it costs $149. But if you do it online with a umd.edu email address, it's free. So if you use your Google account, it's going to ask you for $149. If you use your umd.edu, $0. So sign up with your umd.edu email address for this. Once you sign up and log in, so I need to go to the login because I already have an account. It'll bring you to this screen. Across the top, certificates. And the certificates, Bloomberg Market Concepts. This is the certification. Okay. Again, if you signed up with umd.edu, free. If non-umd.edu, it's going to ask you for $149, which you should not have to pay. When you start the certification, to get the certificate, which will look like this as a PDF and something you can put on your LinkedIn profile even, where these badges are the certification. There are 4: economic indicators, currencies, fixed income, equities. Same 4 badges you'll see on the terminal, just won't look as pretty. The nice thing is you can do this from the comfort of your home. When you take, say, fixed income, these are the sections that you'll have to take. You'll start each section, you'll watch a video, read some text, take multiple choice questions. You must get 70% correct on the multiple choice questions in order to become certified in that section. You'll get a score at the end of the section. If you have less than 70%, you are not certified. I will tell you that if you don't actually watch the videos and read the text, there's no way you'll be able to answer the questions correctly. So don't blow through this and just try and answer the questions. You will get them wrong. You can only take the test once per email account. If you blow through it and you don't get 70%, you're going to have to create another account with a different umd.edu email address and start all over again. Okay. So if you take your time, read the sections, you'll do perfectly fine in the quizzes. But if you skip reading everything, you won't. Those are the 4 sections of BMC that you have to complete by September 16th. They'll take 1 to 3 hours each. So it's a decent amount of work. You can start right now. Okay, and you can do this from the comfort of your home. So you have 2 options. You go to the lab, create a Bloomberg account, go to BMC, create a second Bloomberg account, take it there for free. Or go to portal.bloombergforeducation.com, create an account with your UMD for free, go to BMC, certificates, take the BMC, start working on these 4 modules. Now there's other modules you can take, including terminal basics. talks about how you use software, commodity, options, portfolio management. You'll notice they don't have the badges. Those are extra modules not required for certification. You're welcome to look at those, but you don't have to. Okay, so on Wednesday, I'm going to cover lecture note 1. I will post an online video with the content for lecture note 1. But what you need to do for homework 1 was covered in class today. You have to find, using Bloomberg spread, a industry that has a negative spread. Now, when we looked at Amazon, RV, custom, template, a negative spread means an ROIC less than the WACC. Actually, Tesla. It's a Tesla. All right, so this has a positive spread, ROIC greater than WACC. You have to find an industry with a negative spread. Hint, hint, we might have done one. Okay, just put different companies in here to get negative spreads on your templates. ROIC LF minus WACC. The ROIC is less than WACC. That's a negative spread as an industry. Market cap weighted average. Up here in the right-hand corner, which says export, take a screenshot. Save the screenshot. Save it to your downloads folder on your thumb drive or other way to get it from the local PC that you're on. So I'll call this my Amazon, or what is this? Tesla RV. Okay. Save that. So there's now a screenshot. This little icon right here. Take screenshot, save screenshot of this screen. That is your submission for homework 1. You have to submit a screenshot, which is a GIF file that you'll download from Bloomberg with an industry with a negative spread. Okay, so you need this template, you need a negative spread, there's no write-up. That's due next Wednesday. The whole point of that assignment is to make sure that you have your Bloomberg account and you've started to set it up. In addition, start your BMC certification. Okay, start that Bloomberg training, because that's due in 3 weeks. It's going to take you some time. So take advantage of this week when we don't have a lot of class, and to some degree next week. And one day is Labor Day, but basically to work on your BMC certification. Okay. All right. I've recorded this. So if you're trying to figure out how to do some things, you can go back to the recording and look at this. I'll post the recording in a little while. Questions before we end here today?
Yes, I just have one quick question, Professor.
Go ahead.
If we, well, actually two, if we have previously completed the BMC, can we just submit our previous completion, or do we have to do it
No,
again?
because they just redid the EIC, or the economic one. So you'd have to redo the economic one and show 70% on all the sections. So you
Okay.
could show me the 3 sections greater than 70% you've completed, but you have to redo the economic section because it's new.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. So it'd just be 2 screenshots that you'd submit. Any other questions? All right, I will see you guys online probably next Wednesday. Monday is Labor Day. Won't see you next Monday. Wednesday, it's just going to be a video class for you guys. And I'm only going to do 1 section online in a different section. You're either welcome to attend that or you'll watch the video. All right, again, have a great week. Welcome to the semester. Talk to you soon.